Gentlemen, forgive me. 11 people, or so the story goes, 11 people were dangling from a rope beneath a helicopter in a rescue scenario. Being rescued were 10 men and 1 woman. Word came down from the pilot that one of the 11 would have to let go of the rope. If not, all 11 would perish. The woman quickly spoke up and said, "My whole life has been one of sacrifice. Sacrifice for my husband, my children, and my parents. And now I will be willing to sacrifice one last time by letting go of the rope that others might survive." With that, the 10 men began to applaud. The women are laughing. The story's point: never underestimate the power of a woman. Pretty bad, I admit.
You are forgiven.
Thank you. But the message is quite clear. Never underestimate the power of a woman. And then I dare assert this morning, never, ever underestimate the power of Jesus' message from the Gospel of Mark. Jesus is saying to the disciples, and Jesus is also saying to each of us this morning, my friends, the gospel is real. Never underestimate its power. Why? Because it is full of surprises, reversals, paradoxes, and bubble-breaking strategies, which seemingly make very little sense in today's world. But friends, the more we hear about these strategies, the more sense they seem to make. And thus we today meet up with Jesus as he acquaints his inner circle with the difficulties which lie ahead. And today we hear Jesus saying to the disciples, the human one, meaning Jesus himself, the human one must suffer many things, be rejected by the elders, chief priests, and yes, even the legal experts. The human one will be killed, and after 3 days, he will rise from the dead. Jesus, what are you talking about? Not so. It can't be. We hear Peter saying, Peter, the very one upon whom Jesus would build his church, the very human Peter who was among the Jewish people who had been awaiting the Messiah, for over 1,000 years. Peter's hopes were so high. He expected great things from Jesus. And if Jesus was really the Messiah, there was a lot in it for Peter. For you see, according to Jewish expectations, the Messiah would come to destroy Israel's enemies. He would restore the kingdom of Israel. He would usher in a great age of peace upon this earth. What a glorious and grand moment for Peter. You are the Messiah. You are the Messiah. You are the Messiah? All about God. Or all about Peter and the things that God would do for Peter. Immediately, we find Jesus breaking Peter's bubble. It's as if Jesus said to Peter, "Yes, I am the Messiah, but I am not the kind of Messiah you have been expecting. I am the Messiah, and I will suffer many, many things. I will be rejected by the elders and the chief priests and the scribes. I will be killed. And yes, after 3 days, I will rise again." And of course, Peter, the one who connected that Messiah with himself, began to rebuke Jesus. But Jesus, speaking with authority, speaking with foreboding anticipation, says to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan." Oh, what a blow that must have been to Peter. "Get behind me, Satan, for you are not on the side of God, but of men." This story in the gospel passage scares me just a little bit every time I read it. For you see, Peter had everything backwards. And he learned that the gospel message was not about Peter. The gospel message was all about Jesus. Peter had it wrong. And this makes me wonder. I hear all kinds of proclamations, as do you. Proclamations about the Christian faith today. Proclamations somewhat like Peter's. These feel-good proclamations tell me not about the living Christ, his suffering, his death, and resurrection. No, they tell me that Jesus is all about me. If I but believe in Jesus, I will experience a renewed and powerful sense of my own selfhood. If I believe in Jesus, my ailments may well disappear. If I believe in Jesus, my enemies will be destroyed. If I believe in Jesus, my financial needs will be met. If I give to the right ministries, I will prosper. These voices are offering me an outside into life, a what's in it for me version of Christianity. Sisters and brothers, Jesus would have none of this with Peter, and I dare say this morning that Jesus will have none of this with any of us. Get behind me, Satan. So said Jesus to his disciples, to Peter, and I believe he says it to the church today. Then calling the crowd and the disciples together, we hear Jesus say, "It's not about you, Peter, but all who want to come after me must say no to themselves. Live life from the inside out. Take up the cross and follow me, no matter the cost." The good news in this call is that Jesus did not leave us alone to walk the way of the cross. The good news in this call is that Jesus has walked this path ahead of us. This means that we never, ever walk alone. As we prepare to celebrate Holy Communion this morning, let us remember and let us celebrate personal victory as we, during this Lenten season, choose the cross which lies before us. For it is in taking up the cross of Jesus that we find life. It is in losing our lives for the sake of the gospel that we find life. It is in giving that we receive. It is in losing that we win. It is in dying that we are born again to life everlasting. Without a doubt, as we sit here this morning, our Lenten journey continues. 40 long days, crossed by 6 Sundays, beginning with ashes and ending, my friends, with the light of resurrection. The word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God.